Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Krame Center for Mindful Living. I'd like to welcome back those of you who are a regular part of our mindfulness community and meditation group. And I'd also like to offer a nice warm welcome to those of you who are joining us for the first time. Just a little bit about us. We are a global nonprofit organization whose mission is to make the benefits of mindfulness, self compassion, and positive psychology accessible to all. Our goal is to help people become more resilient and live better lives through our various programs. We offer affordable pricing and scholarships, as well as these free weekly meditations. Our theme for the months of March and April is Spring into Resilience, and this week's theme is Upward Spiral of Positivity. And I'd like to begin with a quote by Barbara Fredrickson. She says, "Through experiences of positive emotions, people transform themselves, becoming more creative, knowledgeable, resilient, socially integrated, and healthy individuals." As human beings, we know that our emotions play a significant role in our daily lives. While we have a wide array of emotions, today we will focus on the importance of our positive emotions. Positive emotions are mental experiences with high intensity towards pleasure. They are sometimes also defined as good feelings that indicate human flourishing, such as joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, love, awe, and inspiration. Positive emotions are enjoyable. We often yearn to experience them in our day to day lives. And experiencing positive emotions has tremendous benefits for our health and our well being. So, as they are good for us, we should make an intentional effort to experience them. And you may be sitting here wondering, why make an intentional effort to experience positive emotions? Shouldn't they just come naturally? And while, of course, we can experience positive emotions naturally in daily life, as human beings, we have a tendency to focus on the negative. Catherine mentioned this in our meditation last week, and we've touched upon this phenomenon before. We have something known as the negativity bias. So, this means that we have a tendency to focus on the negative or what's wrong rather than focusing on what's good or positive. We must therefore consciously choose to focus on the positive and cultivating more of it. And this is where our mindfulness practice comes in. When we are present, we can notice when opportunities present themselves to focus on what is good, enjoyable, and pleasant in life. Mindfulness allows us to find the joy and pleasure even in the small and simple moments. Little moments like perhaps our first sip of coffee in the morning, or a smile from our neighbor, or maybe it's enjoying the sun shining through the window. As I mentioned before, it's worth our effort to seek out these positive experiences. They lead to many wonderful outcomes. Positive emotions help us to effectively build upon our own internal resources, whether that be psychological, social, intellectual, or physical resources. Positive emotions also motivate us to be more open to new ideas. They help to broaden our horizons and learn and grow as individuals. Research has been done which shows that positive emotions reduce stress and boost well being. They help us to moderate our stress reactivity, and they also help us to recover better from it. Research has also shown that positive emotions increase resilience, which in turn improves the effectiveness of our own emotional regulation and coping. So, our positive emotions that we experience can improve our overall health, our mental health, our physical health, as well as our relationships. And so, as we can see, there are so many wonderful benefits of experiencing positive emotions. And the more that we experience positive emotions, the more that we create this upward spiral of positivity in our lives. And there are many different ways in which we can cultivate positive emotions. Today, we will be exploring Spire. And Spire is a positive psychology model that looks at various aspects of our lives to make up a happy, full, and meaningful life. It increases positivity. So we can use this model to help us cultivate positive experiences and positive emotions in our day-to-day lives. The SPIRE model stands for spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, and emotional. And by contributing to each of these areas of well-being, we can increase positivity. And I'd like to just very briefly touch upon each of these categories now. So, this spiritual component of SPIRE, this stands for leading a meaningful life and savoring the present. The physical component involves caring for the body and tapping into our mind-body connection. The intellectual component involves engaging in deep learning and opening ourselves to new experiences. The relational component means nurturing relationships both with ourselves as well as with others. The emotional component involves feeling all of our emotions, but also reaching toward resilience and positivity. And so now we will be transitioning into our formal portion of the meditation today. And we're going to explore this upward spiral of positivity and this SPIRE model a little bit further. So just take a moment now to find yourself a comfortable seat, whatever that might mean for you in this moment, whether that's uncrossing the arms and legs, maybe finding a blanket to offer yourself some warmth, perhaps even lying down. And just doing whatever you need to do to make yourself as comfortable as possible. And then I'd like to invite you to close the eyes or soften the gaze. So directing the attention inward, coming home, home to ourselves. Maybe taking a moment to notice the feet making contact with the floor, the sits bones making contact with the seat, or any other contact points on the body. And as you continue to settle into your posture, perhaps you become aware of the fact that the body is breathing. Maybe noticing how it's breathing all on its own with no need to do anything. And just gently resting the awareness on the natural rhythm of the breath. So noticing one breath in, one breath out, another breath in, and another breath out. And continuing to follow the breath in this way. Doing the very best that you can to stay with the breath, breath by breath, and moment by moment. Just riding the waves of the breath. nowhere to go, nowhere to be, but right here with the breath in the body. Just staying with our tried and true companion, that is the breath. And if the mind wanders away at any point, which it certainly may, just gently bringing the awareness back to the breath once again. Remembering that each moment is an opportunity to begin again. We can always begin again. And now we'll be reflecting on the 5 elements of Spire. So, beginning with spiritual, what are you currently doing to contribute to your spiritual well being? So, perhaps it's meditation, yoga, prayer. Maybe it's being mindful of awe inspiring moments, like being present as you witness a rainbow after a storm, or taking in the view from the top of a mountain. So, just taking some time to reflect on this and see what arises. And how are you contributing to your own spiritual well being? As you do this, if you recognize that you currently aren't contributing to this area of well being, perhaps offering yourself some compassion and identifying what you might be able to do to fill your spiritual cup. And now, reflecting on the physical component. So, what are you currently doing to contribute to your physical well being? Maybe you like exercise. Perhaps you walk the neighborhood, hike, do Pilates or kickboxing. Maybe you eat healthily, ingesting whole foods that truly nourish your body. Or maybe you prioritize rest and sleep. So, just taking some time, seeing what arises, reflecting on how you contribute to your physical well being. And once again, if as you're reflecting on this, you realize that you currently aren't contributing to your physical well being, maybe offering yourself some compassion and then identifying what you might be able to do to contribute to this element of Spire. And now, reflecting on the intellectual component. What are you doing to contribute to your intellectual well being? How do you keep learning and growing? Are you pursuing a new hobby, reading a new book, taking a course at the local community college? Just reflecting on how you're contributing to your intellectual well being. And again, if you notice that you aren't contributing to this area, reflecting on what you might be able to do. And now, our relationships. How are you contributing to this aspect of your well being? Do you spend time with friends? Have dinner with your family each night? Call your dearest pal once a week? And as you reflect on this, don't forget about the relationship with yourself. So maybe this also includes taking some alone time to reflect or journal, just seeing what comes up. And again, as you continue to reflect, maybe you realize that you need to do more to contribute to this area of your well being. Once again, being kind and gentle with yourself, and then reflecting on how you might be able to nurture this relationship with yourself and your relationships with others. And then lastly, emotional. So, do you give yourself permission to be with and feel your emotions? Do you prescribe positivity for yourself, participating in activities that lift you up and promote positive emotions? Things like keeping a gratitude journal, listening to your favorite music, taking a dance class. So, just taking some time to reflect on this, seeing what bubbles up to the surface. Again, perhaps recognizing what you could do if you're currently not contributing to this area of well being. And now, reflecting on if there are any elements that contribute most to your well being. Are there any that fill you up the most? And perhaps focusing on these elements, knowing that we do not have to overwhelm ourselves by trying to fill all of these cups all of the time. And as you do something to contribute to one of these areas of well being, notice how it influences your positive emotions. By using this model and paying attention to the outcome, you just may come to find that it creates this upward spiral of positivity in your life. And when you're ready, coming back to the breath once again. Just following a few more breath cycles. And I'm going to offer a poem. It's called Positivity, and it's by Ahmed Cox. Positivity is not that hard to see. All you have to do is find that inner joy. As you move through life, it begins to take a whole new look. As you start to see the positive in everything and everyone, you begin to see life for the lovely yet crazy existence that we all live in, and just how beautiful the world is, and all her creatures, big and small, as we swirl through space and time colliding with each other. As we go about our days, if we could share a little joy and positivity to the people around us, the world would be a more positive place. Just letting those words land if they resonate. In a moment, I will be ringing the bell, which will conclude the formal portion of our meditation today. Just seeing if you can allow the sound to be part of your practice. And when you're ready, just slowly and gently beginning to wiggle fingers and toes, bringing any subtle and small movements back into the body. Then allowing the eyes to open if they had been closed. Maybe taking any larger or more exaggerated movements that the body might need right now in this moment. And I'd like to offer a weekly tip, as we always do. And I'd like to invite you to take time this week to focus on one area of Spire, whether that's spiritual, physical, intellectual, relational, or emotional. And I'd like to invite you to do one thing to contribute to this element of well being. So, for instance, if you chose relational, perhaps you reach out to your best friend and let them know how much you care. Or if you chose intellectual, maybe you start reading that book that you've been dying to read for a while. And as you participate in this activity, pay attention. Really notice if this happens to spark any feelings of positivity, right? And see how this carries on throughout the rest of your day. I'd like to conclude us with just a few announcements very briefly. We do have a spring MSc course, which will be beginning on April 28th on Thursday evenings. And this is from 6:30 to 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And we also have a spring MBSR course beginning on May 6th. And this will take place on Friday mornings from 9:30 until noon. And if you enjoy these weekly meditations, we really encourage you to consider joining us as a way to deepen your practice and really explore self-compassion and mindfulness a bit further. So I would like to thank you all for your practice as always. It's always such a pleasure to come here together in community. We look forward to seeing you again next week, but until then, be well and take good care of yourselves. Bye, everyone. Thank you.